Imagine, it's Saturday morning, you sat down at the TV ready to watch some amazing cartoon show, and it happens to be called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But wait, it's not the past. It's now times. And what you're actually sitting down to is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection. Now, the first thing I would say is Konami's done a fantastic job of capturing all of the nostalgia. There are big things in this game, lots of features. It is well worth your time. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump into one of the best things I found initially, which is called Turtles Lair. So, Turtles Lair has all kinds of things. It has the boxes and manuals, it has ads and catalogs, it has covers from the comic books. One thing that really blew my mind was it has the animated shows, and as you can see here, it's got the original series from 1987, it's got the more recent series. Now what I would say is initially I was really hopeful that this was the whole show. It's not actually, it's screenshots from the shows, but it's still cool to see that and getting that feeling of nostalgia. And even the 2012 one, which was CG, which I thought was still quite good. I know it's not really something I've caught up on too much, but what I saw of it was good. A 2018 version I haven't seen. There's some stuff behind the scenes. It gives you the guides, all kinds of information. It's really, really, really in-depth and worth a look. You can play around with the music. You can see the music that features within all of the games. Literally, like, they've covered every game that you possibly can think of. And I mean, we're quite lucky because this year we've had both this Cowabunga collection and also the Shredder's Revenge game. Within this you've got strategy guides as well. Like, that was really cool. Especially with the fighting games, it kind of tells you the moves, what you need to do for each character. They've really gone in depth of what you would get from a massive collection like this. The box art is really cool as well. You get to see both the original art for each version. You get Japanese boxes as well as US and PAL versions. And like I said, it's really cool to see that. They've got the manuals from each game as well as the strategy guides, so that's quite cool as well because you can see what they look like. It's very much like as if you had the box in front of you and you're able to open it up and just check it out and read through it like you used to. I mean, some people may not remember that used to be a thing. That used to be what you would do. That would be the first thing you do when you got home. You'd open up the box and you'd read the manual, and then you'd be like, oh, this is what this does. Like I said, they even show you media kits. I mean, that blew my brain a bit. I was like, this is really interesting that they're showing you kind of everything that is in existence for this. Like I say, you've got the covers from the comic books, and they are as they were. They don't cover everything, but they try their best to cover kind of big swathes and moments within when it was published. So you see kind of each variation, iteration of that. So that's really cool. I was really, really impressed with that. Now let's have a look at what we're here for. What are the games? So you see we've got the original arcade game. We've got Turtles in Time arcade game. We've got Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. We've got the fighting games. We've got Hyperstone Heist. We've got Game Boy games. We've got the fighting games. As I mentioned before, we've got the NES originals. So there are 3 NES games there. Or Super Famicom as well if you played the Japanese version, and you get the fighting game on the NES. The Game Boy games, there are 3 Game Boy games as well, and it's really impressive that these are really good representations of the game. There are additional features as well, so what I would say is it's worth having a look at that because you can put things like God mode on, you can play around with whether or not it's more difficult. you can do lots of different settings, and it varies per game, so not every game has the same options, especially on the additional playable stuff, but like the Game Boy ones have things like it shows you on a map where you need to go. You've also got both the Japanese and US versions of the games, which again I thought was very cool. It's nice that it gives you the option to play either. And obviously some of them are titled differently, so that's just something to keep in mind. And then how do the games play? Ultimately, it's amazing. What I would say is with the arcade games, you select which turtle before you load the game. Then the game loads in. And you'll see here, you're going to get a taste of what it used to be. Now it's worth noting that although you've got infinite credits, because every time you press start or the button that would be options or start, whatever the button is on your controller, you effectively get infinite credits. So it's worth noting that although you could have an experience that is very much like it was in the arcade, you're not stuck. It's a lot of fun. All the features that are there from before, like the arcade game, really gave me nostalgia. I had the pleasure of playing this in the arcade. The boss fights are back. Unlike Shredder's Revenge, this is very much how it used to be. So when you're fighting a boss, you're relying on the colour that they're flashing. So while you're doing lower damage, you know, they're just normal. The more damage you do, they start flashing orange, and then eventually when you defeat them, they just die. But you see, like, even these fights are faithfully recreated. They play just as they used to. The beauty of all of this as well is that you can play a lot of these games online, so you could actually play with somebody else. You play with 4 people and make it like a proper 4 of you stood at the arcade. Now, as well, I want to point out that each of these games allow you to remove the borders. There are lots of filter settings, so you can do things like TV, monitor, LCD screen. Like there's lots of options, and it adds to the nostalgia feeling of it. Same as the size of the screen, so you are not stuck with the standard size. You can make it widescreen, you make it full, you can make it fill the whole screen. Now what I would say is the LCD one for me was rough, so I wouldn't really use that, but everything else was really cool. I'm mainly focused on using the TV setting, because I really appreciated that, like, kind of the retro aesthetic, especially for the lines on the screen. And you'll see here again with the other arcade game, you are reliant on making that change, or making the selection of which turtle you want to play as before you start the game. You don't seemingly get a chance to change the turtle when you die. And the arcade games, the audios and the music is a little bit better, because obviously on an arcade cabinet, like, there just was the potential for much more what you could actually do. But like I say, big chunk of nostalgia. You know, these are games that I had the fun of playing in the arcade. And most people won't know that if you stood at a particular turtle, that meant that's who you had to play as. You didn't really get to choose, and if you were the slowest, you would be stuck with... You might not get your favourite turtle. Let's just put it that way. And something I loved about this Turtles in Time was there's something that was always featured in these games, which is you could, when you threw enemies, you could pick them up and throw them towards the screen. And it was something that I'm so glad to see is still in here, and I catch it a couple of times because it's just one of those things that I just truly love in this game. And like I say, you can play around with some filters. I think ultimately you just select the thing that you're happiest with. And you can see as well, like, the console versions of the games do allow you to select that. You can select which turtle, and they play pretty much the same, so there's no major difference between that. It's only preference. What I would say is the arcade game probably has slightly richer music and textures, but obviously you can play around with that stuff. The fighting games, I actually never played these fighting games. They were interesting, and they do play well. It's just not something I think I would gravitate to, but that's because I'd never really played them. But they are there, you can play around with them, you get to play as different characters, there's lots of options. And I'm not going to lie, I did get my butt whooped quite a few times trying to play around with them. But it's fun, worth your time as well. Now, what I'm going to do is, you're going to see footage from the other games. I won't talk over them, it's just a good opportunity to see the other games. Especially different versions of them. Now, ultimately, do I think this game is worth your time? 100%. If you're a fan of the Turtles, this is a game for you. This covers so many Turtle games that you're definitely going to find a thing that you like. If you're a fan of Turtles, I just don't see how you don't buy this game. You should do, it's fantastic. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quiet, I'm going to leave the games showcasing in the background, and hopefully get to enjoy them. And like I say, hopefully you see one that you're like, oh, that game was my favourite.
Come on, baby. Round one, fight.
Cowabunga!
So there you have it. Well worth your time. Go play the Turtles. Like and subscribe if you like this video. Thank you so much. Enjoy.